flight mode? Do you?
Express that right there.
Thank you.
Good. Do we need anything else, Amanda? You all
Just
set?
start for we have our speaker.
I definitely think we should do introductions. There's a lot of new people.
Yeah.
So,
So, do we have our live stream on?
it's not a live stream, but it is recording.
It's recording.
Yep.
So we'd like to welcome everybody tonight to our November SELAC. We do not have a speaker every month because we're trying to do group conversation and support, as well as business that we need to take care of as a SELAC. So if you're new tonight, thank you for coming. We'll introduce ourselves. We are restocking our 10 cards, which have been generously made by the NK Life Skills students at the high school. If you have a moment to just silence your phones. If you haven't come before, please just feel free to grab candy. We kind of stole it from our kids, but feel free to get up and go to the bathroom, take water, whatever it is you need to. It's not a formal committee meeting, even though it says SELAC committee. And this week we do have a guest speaker, this month rather. So thank you for coming. So maybe we can start with some introductions and go around. My name's Amanda. I did SELAC with John Blank and Mary Lopresti, who they're not here tonight, but thank you, Sarah, for coming. So we kind of revamped the whole thing quite a long time ago. And we're in a transition point where I can't be here as much anymore. So we have some kind moms who have stepped it up. So if you're interested in helping at any point with SELAC, we could always use extra hands distributing flyers. We have the Cafe Connections flyer that's going around, and it's on the table. So feel free to take one. Facebook, if you are not already on Facebook, on the NK SELAC, it might be a great idea to join, just because we put a lot of things in the community out, such as sensory-friendly Santa events or things like that in our community. So hop on. We also keep our meetings updated with the flyers so that you can see them and know when a meeting's coming up. We welcome you guys to come all the time, or as much as you can. Trying to think of what else. I have a student who's at the high school. She's a senior this year. So I guess I'm the old mom in the bunch here. And then I have another child who just began high school. So.
Are we going to go around?
Sure.
Hi everyone, I'm Lee Wheaton. I am a mom of 2 in the district. My daughter is in the Compass program at Hamilton, and my son is at Wickford, and they both have IEPs.
Hi, Sam. My name is Michelle, and I have 2 children. Eli is in Hamilton, Compass, and my older son is in out of district. He's 15.
Hi, my name is Allie Biondo. I have 2 daughters at Forest Park Elementary School in 3rd and 5th grade, Adeline and Scarlett, and my little one Scarlett has an IEP.
I'm going to wait till.
Oh yeah.
Craig, my wife usually comes to these, Elizabeth. We have 2 kids, but our daughter is in 3rd grade, also Scarlett, at Forest Park.
Scarlett Jean, Scarlett.
They are best.
Yes.
So my name is Rafal. Our son Eric is an IEP in Compass at Floating Lane.
I'm Ben. I'm a student at North Kingstown High School. My sister is Madeline Blank, and she's in the special ed program at North Kingstown, which is kind of the reason why I'm here. And you might know my dad and my mom. So, yeah.
I'm Sarah Blank. My husband Jonathan usually comes. I'm here tonight, and we have my daughter Madeline is a senior at North Kingstown.
I'm Stephanie. I have 2 children in the district. Adrian, who's in 3rd grade at Forest Park, and no Scarlett, your buddies. And James, he's at the high school in 10th, and they both have IEPs.
I'm Kate. I have 2 kids at Hamilton, one in 2nd grade and then one in 3rd grade with an IEP.
I'm Laura Potter, and I have 3 kids in the district, one at Stony, one at Davisville, and then one at Hamilton in the Compass program.
Hi, I'm Amanda Colasar. I'm the teacher in the Compass program. I teach grades 1 and 2.
I'm Julie. I'm the special ed coordinator and ESY coordinator in the district, and I'm at Davisville Middle, Quinessa, Forest Park, Stony Lane, and then wherever else they need me.
I'm Jackie DiLorenzo. I'm the early childhood supervisor for the district.
Hi, I'm Kendra Winnock. I'm the assistant director of student services.
Well, I'm happy we have such great representation tonight. We have our administration, we have teachers, we have Ben. Thank you for coming, because truly we're supposed to have a student on our board here. Even though we're not terribly formal, we are technically a subdivision of the school committee. So there are certain things that we're supposed to abide by and things that we try to do, but I think it means so much that you're here for your sister as well. You've been a great advocate as a brother for her, so thank you. And out of respect for our speaker, if you would like to have the floor first.
Yeah, I'll get out of your hair.
No.
So I was thinking what I would do is I try and condense my presentation into 20 minutes. I was given 30, so I'll try to keep it to 20 and then have 10 minutes for questions and answers, and kind of if there's other things that you wanted to ask me about, I'll try to answer those questions. So I guess I'll sit if that's okay.
Don't feel overly rushed.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. It's a lot to. I mean, first of all, thank you all for coming. Now that I'm a parent, I understand how incredibly hard it is to get out of the house in the night or after, and how it's kind of nice because then you're like, oh, you deal with the children. So thank you for making the effort to be here for myself. So I, like Ben, have a sister with disabilities. She has Down syndrome, and it's not what got me into this area. My mother, I work with her, and she kind of is the one who I started with, so I can't say it was all Allison, but I'd say that having, a person in my family with special needs really brings a whole other side to it that I see in terms of, I'm not up with the special ed, when they're minors law, so I'm sorry, I can't answer any questions about that. It's completely a different ballgame. I know the adult services program, which is what eventually some, if not all, of your children will be under the umbrella of, and it's important, at that stage to kind of understand where the money's coming from and how it's funded and what the eligibility requirements are to receive those services, because they're worth a lot of money, when you add it all up. So you really want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to line them up in that way. So just, that's my mother, myself, and my husband, actually. We all work together. And in terms of, kind of what we do that I think would be focused to you guys, is, drafting what we call special needs trusts. And it's the type of instrument that you prepare so that a child cannot inherit outright, because they have to be poor to be able to get these adult services, because it's Medicaid dollars, and Medicaid eligibility requires that you be poor. And then I advise trustees, both individuals and corporate fiduciaries, on their responsibilities as a trustee, what duties they have, and then also there's different requests for distributions that come in, and whether or not that's something that is a suitable distribution. It's sometimes it's a legal issue that they come to me with. And then another topic that's, I think, probably more timely for your group is about guardianships and powers of attorney. And then, and also in general, we do drafts, wills and trusts, and do the administration of an estate or a trust after someone passes away. So that's kind of, what we focus on in our office. So that's my sister Allison. I will say that I started doing these type of presentations back in 2014. So those are more recent, those are older pictures when we were younger and thinner. So Allison was my bridesmaid at my wedding, and she loves Anne of Green Gables. She loves Peter Pan. She got to meet Kathy Rigby many times and actually flew as Peter Pan with her at PPAC on the stage, which is and like in the costume and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And she used to do Special Olympics weightlifting. She hasn't done it since COVID, but that was something that she enjoyed, and that was, you know, back in when I started doing this, that was a big piece of her life. So you hear about guardianships, and I have a lot of families call me or, you know, reach out when their child is turning 18, and they want to know, they kind of hear about the term guardianship, and they, you know, are worried that they're not going to be able to talk to their doctors anymore, their child's doctors anymore, they're not going to be able to help make decisions, that they're not going to have access to information. And so to kind of boil it down to what a guardianship is, it's where a court decides that a person, and it doesn't have to be a person with a developmental disability, it can be someone that has dementia or that is in a coma, that they're not able to make decisions for themselves, and they need a substitute decision maker to step in for them. And the different areas, you don't have to have a guardianship over all areas of a person's life. You can limit it to certain ones. And the 4 areas that we focus on, and that, you know, you can have some or all of, are healthcare, health decisions, finance, what happens with the person's money, residence, and then association and relationships. So it can be for all 4 areas, in which case it's a full guardianship, or it can be a limited guardianship where it's, you know, 1 or 2 areas. And so whenever I meet with a family or I'm talking with a parent, you know, I'm like, well, before we get to the guardianship and start drafting the paperwork, let's figure out if this person really does need a guardianship, because the law requires that you explore the lesser restrictive alternatives that might be available. You know, the guardianship will take away the person's rights, and there are other substitutes if they're, you know, suitable, that can, we say, add to someone's rights.
Could you give us an example of less restrictive?
I will. So, for example, you don't have to deal with this yet, for most people usually, but when your child turns 18, if they are eligible for Social Security, then Social Security, if they feel that the person cannot manage their own checks, will appoint someone to be called a representative payee. They don't care about the guardianship system. They're like, that's fine, that's a state thing. We have our representative payee program, and we're going to focus on that. So even if you have a guardianship, you'd still actually have a representative payee. But sometimes, you know, if the person's only money coming in is Social Security, then there's not any other financial issues that have to be addressed, and a representative payee is sufficient. You know, that's one. The big 2 that I really utilize are powers of attorney, which are, you know, one for financial decisions and the other for healthcare. And these are documents that we should all have. My mother made me sign them when I was 18. Because it's just, you know, you don't know when you're going to become incapacitated, and if you don't have them in place, then and you become incapacitated, then you end up with a guardianship. So usually that's the thing I tell folks that are, you know, older adults that aren't coming to me with developmental disabilities, but I'm, you know, telling you that I apply it to everyone. The powers of attorney that I use usually for younger folks are much shorter. There's not as much legalese. It's at the core of it, who do you trust to make decisions for you? Do you trust that this person that you're naming can make a decision or handle your finances for you? And, you know, if you can understand that, then I feel confident enough that you can sign a basic power of attorney. You know, if I'm not able to even kind of have a conversation or dialogue with the person about that, that's when I say, okay, maybe we should explore a guardianship. instead. You know, it's not always gonna be the right answer, but that's usually what I explore first. And I didn't put the supported decision-making up there. I know that's like the hot thing now. I go to national conferences, and there was a whole topic on supported decision-making, and at the end of the day, no one could explain to me how it is any better than a power of attorney. And I will tell you that a power of attorney is a document that doctors and hospitals and banks all recognize. You walk in there with a binder of this supported decision-making, and I'm gonna tell you, I've never seen anyone that's gonna accept it. So I'm not, you know, trying to poo-poo it, but in terms of practicality and what's going to work, anyone that has the ability and capacity to sign a supported decision-making agreement can sign a power of attorney. So just to kind of give you a, you know, contrast of the two, guardianship is court supervised by the probate courts. It has to, you know, it's a public hearing. It's expensive because the legal fees are associated with it are much more. A DMAT is the physician form that has to be filled out to say that the person lacks capacity. And as I said before, it terminates someone's rights. They no longer have, you know, technically the right to contract or the right to make any medical decisions. So it's really pulling away. Whereas the power of attorney is, you know, you don't have to appear before the judge and prove yourself. You don't have to file any accountings, and you're not taking away anyone's rights. So kind of switching to the other topic here about special needs planning. And I'd say that a lot of lawyers can do the trust. I mean, there's templates out there, there's programs that can prepare it, but you have to think about this holistically. And when I sit down with a family, I really want to think about who's in the person's life, what do they like to do, what, where are they gonna live? You know, that's a question that's in flux a lot, because depending on how old your child is, like, they're living at home right now. But, you know, down the line, I've got parents that have children in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and, you know, trying to figure out if they're still in the home, maybe it's a time to start transitioning, you know, where I want to kind of figure out if there's another living situation that might be better, because the worst thing that I've seen is when a child loses their parent and their house at the same time. And so I really try to, and it's hard, it's a lot for the parents to, you know, give up, you know, having their children at home, especially after that long a period. So I do like to have a full discussion, not just about, you know, okay, who's gonna be the trustee and draft it up. I kind of want to see what the whole thing is, and also the services and supports and benefits that each person gets can vary, and the eligibility for those is not the same rules across the board. There are rules for Medicaid, there are rules for supplemental security income, which is a type of social security, there are rules for HUD, there are rules for SNAP. I mean, and they don't all match, and it's just like this puzzle that you have to put together. And some benefits, some types of social security, they don't have any requirements about being poor or being under a certain threshold for income or resources. And knowing that difference is so important, because it helps figure out what we can do for that child and what, you know, the restrictions are gonna be on the trustee ultimately. So I'm kind of talking about when I'm thinking through a special needs trust. And So I'm kind of throwing around this term. A special needs trust is where you just have a document that says this trust or this pot of money that's going into it is going to be held for the benefit of my child, and someone else is going to be the babysitter, and the babysitter is called a trustee. And the really important piece of a special needs trust is that the document has to specify that the trustee, the babysitter, has total discretion about whether or not to distribute any money or make any distributions for the benefit of the child. And I know that sounds harsh, but the reason that you have to do that is so that the government can't say, well, just go demand it from the trust. Go get money from the trust. That you say, no, the trustee has total discretion. I have no ability to demand any access to this trust. Therefore, it's not accessible to me. It doesn't count as my asset, and I'm not ineligible for X benefit. So the trustees, the babysitters, have two main jobs: making the money grow by investing it, and distributing the money based on what the trust terms say. Now, usually I keep it very broad. I don't get into specifics because you get too specific, and the agencies that are looking at this to be critical of it, they start nitpicking. So as I've gotten older, I've started keeping it more broad, and just and that seems to be the trend among practitioners, is that we don't get too specific on distributions. We just say it's in the trustee's sole discretion. So then, you really want to focus on who the trustee is going to be, and you have different options in terms of, it can be a person, it can be a bank, it can be a combination of the two. There is something called pooled trusts, which are run by nonprofit organizations, and they serve as trustees of trusts. The big no-no is that it can't be the person who's the beneficiary, the child, because then you've merged the two and they have access to the money. And broadly speaking, there's three types of special needs trusts. There's a third-party trust, which would be where you, the parent, write a will or a trust that says that this money is going into be held in trust for my child's lifetime, and the money is coming from you directly into the trust. It's not the child's money. First-party trust is where it's the money of the person. So if you didn't do the planning and the child inherited the money outright, then another slang for a first-party trust is like a fix-it trust, where we, will then put it in the trust after the fact. And a pooled trust, as I mentioned before, they can be a nonprofit can be the trustee. It can be from either, they can have it be a first party or third party. It's just about how it's held as a nonprofit, by a nonprofit, but in separate sub-accounts. So the benefit to doing the planning ahead of time is that with the third party trust, the big thing is that there's no government payback. And what I mean by that is, with the first party trust, they say, hey, okay, you inherited this money outright, we want to keep you on your benefits, but the deal is, we'll let you do that if you agree that at your death, at the child's death, there's a payback provision to the state where they can make a claim for all of the money that they've paid out on the child's behalf for their lifetime, which, if you get adult services, is going to be 6 to 7 figures. So it's going to wipe out any assets remaining in the trust for the remainder beneficiaries. So that's where I'm saying if it goes directly to the child, it gets stuck with this payback. And we want to avoid that, which you do by planning ahead and doing the third-party trust. So that's, you know, kind of what I was saying. I get calls, you know, about someone inheriting, or they're getting a wrongful, not a wrongful death, but they'll have a personal injury lawsuit or a medical malpractice lawsuit, and there's money coming in, and there wasn't anything they could do with this in terms of setting it up ahead of time, but they have to stay eligible for their benefits, so that's where we do the first party trusts, to avoid losing the government benefits. So my key takeaways are guardianships are not required for all persons, and planning ahead is very important, because if you don't, you can end up with not so great outcome for your money.
I don't know if you have any background in the ABLE account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you could share that with everyone.
Yeah. When I first was, did my slides back in the day, it was before ABLE came out. It was, it stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience, and it was motivated by parents that didn't want to have to pay lawyers to have to set up special needs trusts. So this was going to be an alternative to it, which is fine. But then it goes through Congress, and there's all sorts of changes, and there's requirements and things, and it turned into something a little bit different. It's a wonderful tool that I utilize for many, many clients. It's under the 529, in the IRS code, under 529, where, the 529 accounts for college. It's akin to that. It's a tax-free savings account for someone that is a qualified beneficiary. And it can be used for just about
Daily
anything.
living expense, yeah.
The only example that for the Social Security rules that they give as something that doesn't count as a qualified disability expense is gambling. And I will tell you that for a lot of the corporate trustees and pooled trusts, where they have beneficiaries that need, they want medicinal marijuana, or they want their gummies, the trust is not gonna make the distribution because it's still illegal on the federal level. So they use the ABLE account as a way to get money to the beneficiary, and then it can be used for that. And it's not, a problem. So that's like on the hot, what it's being used for on some levels. Other times we use it if the amount of money that's going to somebody is under the, no,
Isn't it a cap of 100,000?
it's a different rule. This is why they ended up needing lawyers to still
Yeah.
be involved, because there's so many rules, which is what the problem became. But you can put a contribution max. Right now it's 19,000. Next year it's going to be 20,000. That's the maximum amount per year that can go into the account. So if someone is inheriting $15,000, or they're getting a settlement that's $18,000, and I get a call from a personal injury attorney that tells me that, I say, go open an ABLE account. I don't want to have to charge you for me to draft a special needs trust for that amount of money and eat up the money. Go open an ABLE account, and then the money, you have to pay a amount to keep it open every year, but it's
And it's
basically
like pre-tax money, like saving in a 529.
yes, and it doesn't count as the person's money, just like a special needs trust doesn't count. We call it legal money laundering in terms of as a tool. Now, the thing you have to remember about the ABLE accounts, another, where it got mixed up through Congress and things, is that it has a Medicaid payback on it. So parents should not be putting their money into it because it's got that payback on it. So unless it's gonna be just a quick conduit. I've got some parents that use it to pay rent for their children because there's special rules about it not reducing their SSI check. But other than that, I say parents, don't put your money into the Able account. It's not, you can keep your money in the bank and pay for things for your child. It doesn't have to go through this special account in order to pay for things. So it's a great tool. It's used in conjunction with trusts, it's used on its own. It's just a matter of the right facts and knowing how to utilize it. Any other questions?
If you're a parent thinking about guardianship, when should you start meeting with someone like you? Like,
I'd say 6 months beforehand. You can't file and have the hearing. You can file before they're 18, but it won't go into effect until after the child's 18. It doesn't have to be a year ahead of time. Sometimes people call us and it's like, my child's turning 18 like a year from now, and we're like, it's okay, like, just call back in 6 months or so, because the probate courts are the courts that handle guardianships, and their dockets don't fill up. They meet either, twice a month or monthly, and the process is pretty, low stress overall.
okay, because when we have conversations with parents, like at the high school level, we like to start having those conversations early enough because we work with students until the age of 22.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, obviously we do all of the different permissions as the child's turning 18, but we do start having that conversation early for some of our students too.
Yeah, and
I know a lot of the push is towards the supported decision making, as opposed to guardianship, and thinking about like what aspects of their life can they have independence over, and how to foster that. So it really depends on the student, the child.
so I'll tell you, like, for my sister, she has powers of attorney, and I mean, with the financial pieces, I usually am just doing it because it's not something that she necessarily has to make a decision on, like, do you want to stay on, Medicaid or not, Allison? Like, yes. So I'm just gonna do it. But in terms of like healthcare, that's the big one. She's always been part of the conversation. She's not excluded from it. So even though she has a healthcare power of attorney, technically that document does not empower the agent to make decisions unless she's not able to.
But she
make
doesn't have
decisions.
guardianship, right? No one has
No.
guardianship over her.
No.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't let anyone.
Yeah.
And, I'll say that in the adult services, they have just kind of transitioned. We have yearly plans that, when you figure out their budget and what their plan's gonna look like, and they are trying to have, individuals that are conflict-free managers, and we just sat down for my sisters a couple days ago, and she's there, she's being asked, what do you wanna accomplish this year, Allison, what goals do you have? I mean, I was doing it with her before, cause I was actually the one writing her plan, but I'm like, fine, I'm happy to, have someone else brought in and that might have other ideas and suggestions about things that we can, do to help address some of the challenges that she's facing in her life. So that's, having that dialogue in that setting, and unlike before, where there wasn't any communication beyond that, they're gonna have monthly check-ins with her, and I believe they're gonna have, another 6 month meeting to check in person too, which I was very surprised about. But they're pushing it towards this, conflict-free intermediary, and we lucked out having someone who's fabulous. So I'm trying to kind of say that you can bring the person into the conversation, and I think the adult services is also trying to do that by having them present and involved in participating and asking them, what's your goals, what do you want to do? Because I mean, I'll say what I think my sister's goal should be, you know, like, but she doesn't want me to be the one deciding that, and I have to bite my tongue, because I'm her sister, not her guardian.
The, for the special needs trust, I guess, would it be, I don't know, typical or possible just to have like a family member or one of the parents as the trustee, and then, I guess, set up in case one of the parents passed, then it would go to, I guess, another designated person?
You mean another trustee?
Yeah.
Yes, so the way I typically structure it, when there's gonna be a corporate trustee or a family member, is that the parent or parents are the initial trustees, and then, and the creators of the trust, and then we name successors in the trust, either a bank or a sibling or a cousin or someone else that's in that person's age bracket, or, you know, relatively close. Aunts and uncles, maybe for a short period, but I wanna have a deep bench, because this trust is gonna last the person's entire lifetime. And then after, you know, we sign the trust, then sometimes parents ask me, okay, where do I go set up the account, what do I have to do? And I say, you don't have to do anything. You're actually not gonna see this in effect, because it's not being funded until after the death of the second parent. So, 99% of the time, you're not gonna see it in action. So we're really planning and wanting to pick the right people for the job, but also have flexibility so that additional people could be appointed if we run out.
So that trust is not something it's not like a savings account you pay into over your life. You just have it set up where your inheritance goes into it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was gonna be my question, like, do you need a chunk of money to like
No,
open it up
no,
and?
No.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want you to, because it gets issues with taxation, income tax issues that you just don't need to deal with, because you're paying for your child's these items now. You're the trust, so to speak. So you don't need to create any more stress for yourselves right now. You know, think of it as like the trust is where that child's inheritance is going, their portion of the inheritance.
When you go in front of the court for guardianship, does the child, well, I guess the child will be 18, so the adult child go with you?
They can. I would say that the judges like to meet the child. It's not like a Law and Order courtroom. It's kind of more like this. Is each town, North Kingstown, I don't know what happened with your town hall, you guys. Like, why is it still in that?
It's in the annex.
Yeah. I mean, you had that beautiful building, the stone. Is anything in there? I'm
I don't know. Does anybody know?
So there are still offices in there? Okay. That was a beautiful building, and then now we go to court, the courtroom is in the annex, and so it's kind of a room like this, a little bit less nice, but the judge is sitting at a bench, you know, a table like this in the front with the clerk on the side, and you just go up, and they usually have chairs that you could sit in. And it's just, it's more of a conversation. They're looking at the documents. They don't take testimony unless it's a contested guardianship. But in these matters, usually it's not contested. So they ask, you know, there's a guardian litem that's appointed, which is another attorney that has to prepare a report, talk to the child that would be going under guardianship, and talk to the parents or whoever's gonna be asking to be the guardian, and then write a report to the court whether they think that this should be done or not. So it's kind of an extra safeguard for the protection of the person, that's in place before you actually go the full distance. So it's not as intimidating, as you might envision it. And, the judge, if they ask any questions of the child, is usually, how old are you? Where do you go to school? What do you like to do? It's not a threatening or adversarial, situation.
I know for us, we did, Amanda, you were with us, thank you. But we didn't take Kira just because there were a lot of people in the room and we knew she maybe couldn't sit for, it was like, I don't know, we sat for like 45 minutes maybe, or.
Yeah, that was a long one.
That was a long one.
I don't
We got
know.
a big, the room was full.
Yeah.
We got a really busy day, so, it was, yeah, and I didn't think she could sit for like that entire time. And you have to be quiet, obviously, in the room, because the judge is talking to people, so that's not her strength.
I mean,
so.
we might have gotten ahead first, but yeah, it's case by case how you decide.
And the guardian ad litem that came to the house was very nice, and he met her, and yeah, everybody was great in the process, so.
Yeah, there's like two different types of guardianships that usually you see in probate court, and there's the ones, when there's someone with developmental disabilities, and then there's the folks that have dementia and haven't done powers of attorney. And I would say I've only seen a couple contested ones with children with developmental disabilities, mainly because parents were arguing. Divorced parents, continuing the divorce, at that level. The contested ones are usually folks with dementia where they're really saying, oh no, I don't need help, and that, so it's, the guardian ad litems that are visiting, these are kind of layups for them. It's not gonna be a he said, she said type of situation, but they still do their job. They still meet with both the parents and the child and investigate, ask questions, and then report to the court.
Besides these points, any other advice that you would give to parents? Sort of anticipating this process. I mean, you're familiar with adult services too, so
Yeah.
any thoughts?
If your child's on the spectrum and is more high functioning, and the eligibility rules for adult services are based on mental retardation, and that being the definition of the eligibility. And so if you have a child that can be high functioning in some areas, but can't, it still has major safety issues or other needs these services, then I would say talk to Ripen, or they have a transition seminar, I believe, that they put on that's really great. And before you fill out the application, because they ask you questions about, does this person need help in this area, and they don't show you the scoring sheet with it. And my husband has actually been successful in all the ones that he's done, where if someone's been denied services, he's been able to appeal and get the child into the adult system. Now, they might not be approved for a large budget, but they, just being in the system is a good foothold, because probably, in all likelihood, the parents are able to kind of artificially hold this child up and not, have any safety problems. When mom and dad aren't here anymore, though, they're really gonna need the services, and that might be when they ramp up. So the fact that they're in the services at, initially, or at least they're there, and then they might get an increased budget later on, when they need more help. outside their natural supports, as they call it.
I've been told when filling out those forms to just think about the worst day, like for that particular
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Answer it like it's, you know,
Yeah.
the worst scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, and, if you feel concerned about it, my husband does, coach people on at least knowing what the rules are and how the test is scored. So rather than maybe pay for an appeal, you could pay for an hour of his time to talk about, this is how you fill out the form.
Be smart.
I would tell you right now, but I honestly don't know, because he's the one that does those. And I don't think that the agency is malicious in trying to keep people out. It's just that they're using a very dated, determination test. And it doesn't fit for a lot of people that need help. I mean, there was a young man that was denied services, saying he didn't meet it, but, I mean, he was at work and he decided to crawl into a trash compactor because something dropped in there. And I mean, like, that's a, if you can't realize the significance of the safety issue in that, I mean, that person needs services and beyond that. And someone else decided that they wanted to go see a friend and went and walked on along Route 95, and they denied, these individuals because they met other areas, or the parents might have made them sound more capable than they were. So yeah, worst day, worst, behavior that you can think of. So I guess that's what I would be thinking about as you transition. I'm gonna let you get on with your meeting. I'm taking up a lot of your time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for
Thank
coming.
I knew like bits and pieces of it, but I didn't know.
Amanda, can we share your contact information or anything on our Facebook page? Would that be okay?
Yeah,
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 okay.
that'd be fine.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for the work.
Oh, you're welcome.
I have a feeling Amanda might have.
Oh, no, it's all Lee.
It's all Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
I know. Pass around the candy so
Yeah,
someone
right.
can take some.
I'll take some.
I don't want to take it home.
All right, so continuing with our agenda tonight, I know Dr. Santa could not be here tonight, but pass it down.
I do have some notes.
Okay.
So we are excited to announce that North Kingstown High School has met 10 national standards in the areas of inclusion, advocacy, and respect for unified champion school. So it's a national award that we're being honored for. There's going to be an International Special Olympics panel and a national banner ceremony in December at the high school. And so we're really excited about that, and we're thinking about opportunities to expand to the middle school level for unified sports and kind of branching that down.
Will that go down to the elementary school? Because I know some of the,
I mean, not unified sports,
Yes,
but we do have like a unified spirit week that we've started at most of the elementary schools.
do they do like the unified pledges and stuff like that, with the little guys?
I'm not entirely sure.
We
Every
do it at the
school's
Compass
a little
program.
different.
Yeah.
The
but-
Unified Spirit Week.
Yeah.
We just have like the kids come in and do like a sensory walkthrough, they get to kind of interact with our kids, and then we have like a Spirit Week where they dress up, like, we do different themes and.
I know Fishing Cove also had one last year. I'm not entirely sure about the other elementary schools.
Forest Park was an inclusion week.
They did an inclusion week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're starting to
Cool.
have it
Yeah.
trickle down, but the high school's really, you know, kind of spearheaded it, and we have some teachers that have been really great leaders and supportive of that work, and going to the various schools and talking about different resources and things they can start doing at the younger grades. So that's an exciting award we're getting. We also have a student that Dr. Santa wanted to be on our SELAC board. And we're also working in the very beginning stages of developing our Positive Pathways program into the middle school level, to be at Davisville Middle School for next year. So right now, our clinical day program at Davisville Academy, we moved our younger students to Fishing Cove so they could have more inclusion opportunities. Some of those students are in 5th grade, will be rising to 6th grade, so we want to think about how do we continue that support, you know, in the regular school setting, but to have that smaller class placement as their home base. So we're working on that. We did have a special educator resign at Hamilton Elementary School. Unfortunately, you know, due to personal reasons, she didn't give any notice, but we are happy to report that we have offered a position to another qualified candidate who will be starting in December. So we moved quickly on that to get that filled, and we had a lot of interest, so that was great.
Do you know when in December?
December 4th. And we did draft a letter to families about that, and it will be going home hopefully tomorrow. So that is all my updates. The ABLE account that I mentioned is something that is new in April. The General Treasury in Rhode Island passed an initiative where LEAs, so all of us that sit at meetings, are to distribute information about the ABLE account. Now, we're certainly not accountants, although my husband is, so he told me about this before I knew anything about it in my role here. So it is something that we'll be giving out information of. It's linked in, you know, my emails, Rachel's emails, about that. One difference between what the ABLE account is and what she was mentioning is it's, you know, tax-free money. So you're not taxed on that money, similar to like if you were saving in a 529 plan. You can use it during, you know, your life as well for those living expenses, so it is a little bit different. So if you receive any emails from me or Dr. Santa, you can look at our signature because they are linked in there, and we'll also start distributing those at IEP meetings this year. So those are all the updates.
All right. Jackie, anything to report?
We're just loving our new environment. We just recently moved to Davisville Academy Early Learning Center, it's called right now. And this is our new school year, and it's just been going phenomenal. I'm really, really pleased. Our playground is almost completed. It's very colorful.
Sure is.
Getting some feedback on the colors, but yeah, we're really excited. But things have been going very well. The new environment is just really plays a big role in you know how we run things now for preschool. Not that it was ever bad at Fishing Cove. It's just we have more space, more flexibility, and more options to do things that we were a little bit restricted at Fishing Cove. So yeah, everything is going well. Referrals are still coming from early intervention. Our new child outreach coordinator is doing a phenomenal job. I think she's already screened close to 80 children, almost 100 children. And we're starting to get some referrals from the child outreach screens as well. So we're doing a really good job catching those kiddos that we need to kind of look at. But yeah, so we're doing great. I'm really happy. So.
Is this number growing, the screening?
It's
Growing.
Is that number growing?
In regards to screenings
The
or
screening,
referrals?
is it just that census, is it growing, that child population that we're required?
Yeah, I
for
mean,
that
so it's child find, so we're obligated to find as many children. There I think are like 800 3, 4, and 5-year-olds in North Kingstown, so we try to catch and screen as many as we can. So Donna Colucci, our child outreach coordinator, is now going into all community preschools. We catch a lot of kids that are attending community preschool programs. And then we also have parents that call in. We put out a lot of brochures about child outreach. So yeah, by the end of the school year, hopefully, our percentages in the last years have been like 63% of the population. So we've had really, North Kingstown has had some really good percentages for child outreach and screening children.
So theoretically, this program will expand in the future?
Oh,
So
absolutely,
populations,
yeah.
is that the
I mean, that was one of the goals when we talked about positive pathways moving into Fishing Cove and preschool moving out, and have opportunity for growth in a building that we can occupy. We do have, or we did have one.
You should be at Davisville for a while then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that was a lot of the decision making when Dr. Santo was looking into space for positive pathways. Like, how can we do this and use Davisville Academy in a productive way? And so I think, yeah, for preschool and the growth of preschool, now we have that opportunity because we have the space. Where at Fishing Cove, like I said, it was great, but we were just confined to what we had. There was no room for expansion or growth.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dr. Erin Earl, she often comes to our meetings, but she's not here tonight, so I'm sure if there's anything that we need to know. I didn't hear anything. Did you guys hear anything? No. Okay. I'm sure she'll reach out to somebody. Our new business is a section of our meeting that sometimes we do new business first, or depends on our meeting, but tonight we're gonna do it getting on here towards the end. We have been talking a lot about our bylaws. They came to me about 10 years ago. They were in pretty rough shape, and there weren't many people to advise us on how to modify them or change them, so they kind of, they remained as they were. Of course, we worked off the old bylaws that we were given, which talked about things such as like student representation, having teachers and staff and administrators, and parents as well. Obviously, the parent forum was really important with the SELAC. So we've kind of got to that point where we need to address that again and look back at them, make sure that we're updated. As you know, we're a subdivision of the school committee, so we still have to send our agendas onto the Secretary of State a week ahead of time. Everything has to be followed legally as a committee. That's a subdivision of the school committee. So part of that is our bylaws. So I know you ladies have been kind of hacking away at them, and it's not an easy task. So do you guys want to take the floor on that?
Yeah, so we worked off the old template and did some research of our own and watched some webinars and stuff and tried to kind of come up with a good draft. And I think Dr. Earl had said that she wanted to take a look at it and use it as a starting point. So I don't know that there's any action tonight without her here. We did email it, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe we just need to follow up on that, and then at the next meeting, or maybe through email, we can kind of hash it out. But yeah, we have a good starting point, so hopefully it won't be too difficult.
Can we reference any other bylaws that any other committees have?
Yeah, we were able to.
Yeah.
We found a lot online, so they're all very similar.
The only other thing I can think of is RISEAC is the Rhode Island SELAC. They meet separately. I tried to find their bylaws just to kind of compare and see how we were doing. I wasn't able to find them, but that might be something just to see how RISEAC does their meetings and if there's anything specific that they require. I don't know that they have students. I think it's more of just administrators, teachers, community members, etc. But
what's the acronym, Amanda?
RISEAC, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, RISEAC. And they talk a lot about RISEAC at the Sean dinner. That happens twice a year. So they usually report out, but maybe that's something too. I'm thinking off the top of my head, I don't know if there's any particular bylaws that might jump out at us as something that we might want to adopt or compare how we're doing.
And there is a virtual training coming up. Is it Ripon that is putting it on? It's, we can share it if anybody's interested. We all signed up, so we'll report back, but I think it's the week of like the 20th of this month.
next
And it's,
Thursday.
oh, it is, okay, next Thursday. Wow, that's already the 20th.
It already is.
It's virtual, so anyone can join if you're interested, and I think it's just kind of gives more information about SELAC meetings and how they're run and kind of what we should be doing or shouldn't be doing, so hopefully that will give us more information too.
Do you have a time or a link?
It's in the evening, I don't know, I just know
Okay.
next Thursday.
Is that just on the Ripon website or?
Probably, I think it is actually.
To 8:30 p.m. That's a lot.
That's good though.
Yeah. Virtual Sean meeting, Special Education Advisory Network.
So is that is it the Sean meeting?
I guess so.
Yes.
That's what the invite says, yeah.
So they used to do the Sean dinner, which was great, twice a year. Once, it was usually in November, and then they did one in April or May, and they were both usually at Cello's in Warwick, and they had a really nice dinner that they served. And usually North Kingstown was seated with Exeter, Coventry, Narragansett, South Kingstown, so it gave a nice chance for you to meet with other SELAC families from surrounding communities. But once COVID hit, it became all virtual, and then I think once things started to open up again, they do one virtual, and then they do in the spring, I think they will do one in person, so.
We can put the link to it, we'll send the minutes out to everybody that signed up on the list, so we'll put a link to it in there.
But it looks like, I bet you can go on Ride too to find it, yeah.
It's great, cause David Sienko, from RIDE speaks, every time pretty much. And it's just a great chance to hear what's happening, locally, but also statewide with special ed, so. All right, cool. Next item on our agenda, and again, Dr. Santa might help us with this one, but the welcome letter, the brochure, the magnets, hopefully, I know from the high school, we did get the brochures. Did anybody get a brochure on SELAC in your child's backpack or folder? Did you get it down at the
Oh,
elementary?
I got like a colorful printout and
Yeah,
it
we
had
had the colorful printout.
and
We
yes,
emailed
and
them.
it had,
Yeah.
I emailed them to them.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It was
so-
definitely like the most eye-catching one I've ever seen. I was excited.
There
Yeah.
must have them attached to our emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this, so.
Yes. There was another one that came out though, I have them on my conference room table.
That's the please join us letter
That-
that they sent us, so we
okay.
have that, we're
Okay.
distributing
We do that
too, the
too,
please
yeah.
join us letter that you
Yeah.
all wrote,
Mhm.
so we have that too
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
And I've noticed like, on the Wickford Middle and the Hamilton emails, the weekly
Yep,
ones I
weekly
get, that the
ones.
letter and the SELAC, with all the dates have
Yep.
been included in
Yes.
the
Yep.
last
The high
two
school
at
too.
least, so
Yeah.
that's great, that's
Yeah.
really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say spread the word. If you're new, welcome, please come back. I think people are really put off by the word committee.
Mm-hmm.
I think it holds some, level of commitment and, formality
Mm-hmm.
that, I mean, we'd love to have you come back and, you know, we are a committee, but I think we're also a support network and information sharing. So hopefully it can be as least, you know, not too threatening so that people do come back and learn and grow together and support each other, so. The magnets, I think Dr. Santa's working on. Yeah.
She ordered them, I think.
Yeah, so, she had recommended that. I can't remember where she got the idea from.
She said at the last meeting, she saw it somewhere or somebody else was using them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think it might have the QR code for, like,
yeah, I
yeah.
think so, yeah.
So that they can be handed out at meetings,
Mhm.
Catching families early so that they know that support exists out there. So we're, in the works on that. Do you guys have anything else to say about that? Did I miss any points? Okay.
You did great.
Okay, thanks. Cafe Connections, you wanna hit that one?
Sure, there's a flyer right over here, and this is just an informal, time to meet at North Coffee. We met in November, there was 6 or 7 of us just sitting around drinking coffee and chit-chatting about our kids and our lives. And it's been a really nice chance for families to meet other families. So there's 2 more this year. Feel free to come, bring your friends. And Ben, could you pass those out to anybody interested?
Should the
Thank
kids
you.
come out too, or is it just the parents?
I mean, if a kiddo needs to come, but really it's for parents. But, you know, if you'd like to come, you know, there's desserts there, there's usually a big dog there. Yeah, but it's really for parents and caregivers.
I think it's a great chance for us to spark ideas for our agendas too. You know, people talk about great programs that are going on, or you know, things that are working, not working, and it brings up,
Yeah, Rachel added that to fun
it
flyers
gives us
too.
an opportunity to make change in a positive way.
Yeah, that went out in the fun flyers too,
Oh,
Rachel
good.
added it,
Oh,
so
great.
we're trying to get it out there.
Great, that's awesome. Okay, let's see, speaker planning. We are trying to still identify some speakers and themes for meetings, for the remainder of the year. Our last meeting was more business, this one we had a speaker, so, we probably have at least 2 more opportunities for speakers this year.
I don't know, this was just something that a parent had said at an IEP meeting the other day. Their child has a communication device. They were looking for more training on how to use the communication device. And Eileen McCabe, our speech pathologist, did offer to come do AAC training for staff. I know it doesn't apply to everyone, but it might be something interesting for us to have at a SELAC.
Do you have her name?
Alina, so
Eileen
email?
McCabe, yeah, she's
Oh, Eileen
pathologist.
McCabe? Oh,
Yeah, she's our
yes,
speech
but she's lovely.
pathologist.
Sure,
Yeah,
I can reach out to her.
yeah, she offered to come to the meeting.
I also like to recommend something, you know, when it comes to early childhood, and I could do some research and kind of look around, but I think it's really important to maybe get the word out there what early childhood special education is. And that transition from early intervention to early childhood special ed with the public schools is always a huge transition. And even now, sitting in with child outreach referrals, and parents are like, what do you mean they didn't pass screening? What does that mean? And so, what does this all mean? And some parents don't understand the referral process and why they're actually being referred to my team from child outreach, more so than early intervention, because there's a 6-month transition and all of that prior to their 3rd birthday. But I am finding with the child outreach screenings, a few that have come across my desk, parents, I had to get on the phone and explain what and why we're recommending the referral. So I don't know, thinking about something from that early stage on, because it's always a conversation and it's always a lot of questions, and the referral meetings, sometimes I spend most of my time explaining why we're here and what you're doing, and I know, well, my preschool parents here, it's hard. It's a tough beginning start, and then we ease into it. And the more they have knowledge about it and understanding and trust in us, it does make the process easier. So I can kind of think about maybe a speaker or a presentation. I know we had done one in the past with early intervention, so I can think about that too.
I think that's a great idea, and if you need any help with that, you can
Yes.
let me know, and I can email people.
Yeah, thank you.
And in the past, we've tried to span kind of the ages, so like tonight we did the older kids, so
Well,
we've
I was
tried
thinking of
to-
that, listening to this, and
Yeah.
like, this isn't my thing,
Yeah.
but it was great information,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm feeling it at the other end. And there's a lot of information and things that parents need to know for their child turning 3 coming to the public school.
Related to that, one of the things that we had talked about was to have, I think Rachel volunteered to do it, was to just talk about what are some of the programs throughout the years, right? Because my kids are in elementary school, it's tough for me to envision what it looks like as they move forward in years. And so she offered to do that too, so that would be something that I would I'll follow up
really
and send it to you about that, yeah.
So like an overview of all the stages?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what does special ed look like kind of
Yeah.
across the ages?
Well, that whole
Yeah, I feel
continuum,
like that
starting
evolution
from the
of
early
like the
childhood.
IEP with what it looks like,
Yeah.
and it's changed so much just from preschool
Just
down.
even,
Yes.
even pre-K to K transition, it's huge. What we do in preschool and what we offer in preschool for services and programming is very different, and I struggle with that every year to do the best that we can to set children up for success in kindergarten. And, you know, Dr. Santa and this team has been wonderful in really thinking outside of the box and providing, additional specialized classrooms and things like that, but it's a huge transition from early intervention to pre-K to kindergarten, and I'm sure I'm not that experienced with the sixth graders going into middle school, and then of course middle school to high school. So I think that's what Rachel was talking about,
Yeah.
and like looking at those transition points
I think that would
of time, of
Yeah.
like what's,
be, yeah.
what
And
the
then transition to adulthood, so it's
and then
just-
that transition, yeah.
A
So
lot
there's
of
all those
change.
different, that continuum of,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
a
would
great
that be
point.
like two different trainings? Cause I mean, we were thinking even of like, you know, first we were thinking about just, you know, special ed throughout the years, but I think to
We
your
can start with
point,
elementary, you
yeah,
know,
and maybe,
and then go on to
maybe,
secondary,
because
then
it's
to-
probably a bigger fish to fry, right?
Yeah, it's taken me years.
Yeah, we're,
My whole
we're bitten
job.
off a lot, right?
It's a lot
And then
to do in an hour.
Yeah, and then including like the transition planning of that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's a lot.
And our team is so great. I've learned so much from Kendra and Julie too, because we work so closely together, and of course Dr. Santa, but it's like, wow, I didn't know you did that from like sixth grade into middle school. And Julie's like, can I come sit at some of your preschool meetings? Cause what's a coast forum? Like, what do you guys do?
Yeah.
What's that? You know, so it's really nice to hear, the different, really requirements and how we make decisions for children at each level.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other idea that we had talked about was bullying, to bring in a speaker to talk about bullying, like related to special education, right? And to kind of connect it just for schools in general. So, again, Rachel, I think, has a speaker, but that person had some like personal life stuff, and so we were gonna do that at a later meeting for the year. But I feel like that's a topic that like I think everybody feels connected to.
Yeah,
Some certain
we
kids
were just saying we should target some students
to come to that presentation.
Yeah, right.
How could we do that?
part of their
Learning
learning process.
Part of their plan.
Mm.
It's part of their very, very detailed plans. We could add that in as learning opportunity, which I actually think would be great.
Is there a social worker in the district, or I mean, should we just follow up with Rachel and see if we can, if it's this person and then?
Yeah, I would follow up with Rachel first, and then I would love to have some of our mental health providers too come to that, because that's like what they're dealing with.
That's what they're doing.
Constantly.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot of the teaching around that, and then also trying to deploy that to general education teachers who are utilizing their curriculum in their class to address it more on like the whole group level. And I mean, we've had great parents too come in and like do some lessons, which is awesome. So, but I think that would be great if when we plan that out, if that way we could let some of our mental health providers know, because I'd love to have them come and kind of weigh in on the conversation too.
I think
That
that's,
would be great.
I feel like that's like what they're doing every day.
and then that would be really good for parents to be able to,
Yeah.
again, take that messaging back to families and
Yeah.
friends, and so,
Yeah, that would be great.
So we have Eileen McCabe, the early intervention, moving on, Dr. Santa with the overview, and then bullying. So should we just send an email to Dr. Santa and see what we can maybe get next? Does that seem like the next step? Okay, great.
Then I'll be working on a training, care for the caregiver too. I'll be working on
Cool.
that, so I can, you know, I can fill in too.
That's great. All right. Next topic would be the lift maintenance on the minibuses. I know this is something that came up earlier, but
Didn't we already talk about that?
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
okay, are we in a good spot with?
Yeah, I think what had happened over the summer is one of the buses had to be fixed, and then
Okay.
the driver on the bus who had the lift that day, it worked in the morning, but they needed to either pull or not pull the emergency brake, and they didn't know that because they were a new bus driver for that particular day, so it worked for Kendra in the morning, because she was her programming was 30 minutes earlier than mine, and then it didn't work for our programming, because the bus driver didn't know about the e-brake thing. But Rachel did say she already spoke with Michelle about servicing the buses prior to ESY, especially the bus that has the wheelchair lift. And then we do the absolute best we can to keep the drivers for the summer, and then training them to make sure they know how to use it. I believe that particular day, the bus driver was out. It wasn't the typical bus driver too, so it was kind of like the actual perfect storm. But for sure, we want to make sure that that's not an issue. And it was very unexpected because it did work 30 minutes prior, so.
Yeah.
But we definitely
That's
need to
usually
make
the
sure.
case where like, they're like, oh, it worked, it just worked, and then, but it has happened
Yeah.
recently too.
Oh,
Has
this
it
school
happened
year?
this school
Oh,
year?
okay.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I haven't
we
experienced
had to like
anything yet,
literally
so.
open the emergency door and get her wheelchair out. It was bad. Like if my husband wasn't home, I don't know what we would have done.
Was it the same driver or was it a new
It
driver?
was it was a driver I didn't recognize.
Okay.
And I've noticed that it's usually either like the bus monitor or the driver. It's not typically with the team that we always have,
Right.
although it has happened with that team too. So I don't know if it's like a training, like does everybody get trained on how to use it, or
That's a good
Never
question.
used
I can
work?
ask Rachel.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
ask
I
and
can ask
see.
her for
I
sure.
would imagine so.
I can email Michelle too. Well, I'll email Rachel because she's with her.
Yeah, because I have 2 buses riding with lifts for some of my students, and I haven't experienced anything this year, so.
yeah, we seem to have.
Yeah, I know,
That's really
sorry,
bad.
yeah.
I'm sorry. That's.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's frustrating.
I'm just gonna throw it out there, but what about a laminated page that's
Right.
within the bus
Mhm.
Right.
somewhere,
Yeah.
just with instructions?
Yeah.
Rachel talked about
Have you seen it happening at school?
No, I haven't seen it, but also none of Maggie's in another class now,
Yes.
so,
So
I
I'm
haven't
wondering if it's
seen
happening
it.
in both places or not. But it definitely seems it's obviously happening at the stop, which is
Yeah.
hopefully it wasn't raining because that's when we do like our umbrella brigade. Like,
Oh,
we
no, it
make sure
wasn't.
because there's no overhang, right? So
Yeah.
like, especially on days where it's raining for ESY, we're out there in like coats, jackets, and as many umbrellas as we can to cover,
Yeah.
right, as she's coming down.
Yeah.
So it would be great if there was some type of overhang on those
Yeah.
buses too.
Well, our driveway's long anyways. Wheeler up in the rain.
Instructions for driving.
She's got a good canopy on that
She
thing
does.
though.
She sure does.
Alright, next item would be the accessibility monitoring throughout the schools and community. I didn't know if that was something that, I think you guys might have brought it up at the last meeting, so I don't know if there's anything else that we need to say about that.
Is that in the context of the preschool?
I think that was part of, because Mary had mentioned it.
I think that was what we
On
talked
the
about,
playground.
Dr. Earl, how she said there's like improvements that are gonna be made throughout the schools, and we had talked about, has anybody discussed like with the TAs that are with the kids, especially like kids in wheelchairs or that are using walkers or whatever, about like potential improvements that could be made, to the schools, like to help it be more accessible. So I don't know if, yeah.
I don't know where that landed,
Yeah.
that conversation.
I don't remember
Not
that.
sure.
We can ask Dr. Earl, I guess.
Alright, so we're gonna follow up with Dr. Earl on that.
Yeah.
Next thing, let's see, was, I know this already came up today, but, do we have a student appointed for the school year?
That was, Rachel said she does have someone,
Okay.
who's volunteered, but
Great.
she didn't give me a name.
And Ben, we'd love to have you back too.
Maybe it was you then.
Can't be. And virtual meetings, I know we're recording them, but they're not live.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, Rachel had said we got permission to like essentially set up a Google meeting link, so people could do hybrid. It can't be all virtual, but that it is approved where we could set it up if you all wanted to, where there could be a link so people could join from home. So that's something she said we could do.
So maybe for the next meeting, we can ask her
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might as well try it and see if
Yeah,
anyone
we can have
joins.
more participants, yeah.
I know there's some teachers that definitely have
Yeah.
expressed interest in wanting to do it, you know, from home.
Yeah.
If you have young kids or kids with
Yeah.
disabilities, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Right.
always hard to
come
leave
out at this time.
sometimes,
It's hard to get a
so,
babysitter.
yeah.
Okay, so that's, let's see. The SELAC website, email, social media, update on the access to the SELAC email and the storage.
I think that's another
So,
Rachel
Yeah,
question.
Rachel question, just all the things that we're creating, I think we
Yeah.
talked about just, housing them and something, so we don't have to
Do you have
recreate.
a SELAC email right now?
We
The-
do.
No one has the password to the existing one, and so Rachel was gonna ask the IT folks, just so like if we put a flyer, we don't, I'm not putting it on a flyer to the public, right, so like, just for one, but she did not, I asked that a couple of times and I haven't heard anything back on that one, so, but we'll follow up again, I got a list.
Alright.
And I did, and I just had a question, so I know like at the the bottom of the principals' weekly emails, there's a SELAC link and then you can click on it and it looks like it's been updated, I don't know if you're familiar with what it is, it looks like it's some sort of district link and I think it's been updated.
Yeah,
But it's going out to the principals, so, you can click on it, just take a look at some point.
I'm wondering too, especially as we have new voices come to the table, like what are we missing? Like what should we be doing to reach families? Does anyone have any other suggestions that?
Well, for new families, if you don't mind letting us know how you heard about us.
Oh, yeah.
Great, right, so.
Well, Jackie knows my experience
Yes.
thoroughly, and that's for the outreach, so just pretty much the standard process, wasn't it? So that was that.
And we mention it at every meeting, we talk about it with families. Sometimes I find it's a conversation they've already are spent with all the information that I've given them. So I do.
It can be overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, and so when I mention this and start talking about it, I think, they're already got their heads full of like all the other stuff. But yeah, we talk about it at all of the meetings.
So I think you mentioned earlier that you're struggling with the fact that so many new parents are asking so many questions, correct? It's just the new parents that are
Just
asking.
trying to understand the process.
Okay.
Like, and why is my child being referred? I didn't know this, or, you know what I mean? Like,
But the first mention I ever got of this program was through just regular mail. Because I think you guys are picking up on the fact that my child was such a certain age and I got a.
was through child outreach.
Yeah, I got a mail in the mail and that's how I kind of
Yeah. Yep.
took advantage of it.
So yeah.
Could something more, can it be explained more in that mailer or
Child outreach or?
just that, that maybe the child outreach being the point of more explanation.
Yeah, we have all the information out there.
That's the first point of contact, right, just the
Yep.
whole program is that,
Yep.
it's the first point of.
We designed our webpage is I believe up and running. We're in the process of designing a new webpage for Davisville Academy Early Learning Center. Donna Colucci now has her own page where she's gonna put all that child outreach information. I know Mary Nelson used to put it in like the local papers about screenings. RIDE has it on their website, so it's a federal mandate, and so it's.
So again, Mary would be one of the people that, since that's the first contact that most of the parents have.
Typically, it was, it's Donna Colucci now.
Would she be able to answer some more of those questions?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what happens is, the way the process works is Donna goes in, she screens children, her and I then review the screenings that kind of are red flag,
Yeah,
her and I together, and then, if they don't pass a portion of the screening, it is a referral, and so then it comes to me. And then we send an email out with all the information that we'd like to schedule a referral meeting, registration, all of that goes out to the families. At that point, families are okay with it and say, yep, we'll do the referral, and then there's some families like, what is this? I don't understand. What does this mean? And then that's when I make the phone call. So it kind of leaves the child outreach coordinator's hands once it becomes a referral after her and I review the screenings. So she's got screenings, children pass, she follows her protocol. The ones with the red flags, if they don't pass the general development portion or the speech and language, or the ASQ, which is the social emotional piece, comes to me, her and I review it together, and then we determine it's a referral. And then I send my-
admittedly, through my experience, I have to speak to somebody, and luckily it was you.
Yes.
That explained a lot of the things, right?
Yes, yep.
So I don't think a website is gonna satisfy that need to speak to that person.
Yeah.
Right.
I
The
think that's
website
why
can only
Jackie,
answer so much.
I think Jackie was suggesting like almost like a group like this of families, so, you know,
Yeah, I can
she
explain
can
the
answer all the
process, yeah.
questions, you know,
I would
thoroughly
probably do it
at
because
one
I just,
time.
that's my thing,
But
and
what
I
would the
can
process
just.
there be? Because if you have a parent that's asking, why am I being referred? What do we do then? Do we just send them a link, or hey, show up to this meeting, we'll answer all your questions? What's the idea?
No, I think it's just an added layer of support, I think that's all. I don't think it's to replace, you know, Jackie communicating with the families, I just think she's thinking of like an added layer of support
Okay.
for families all kind of going through the same process.
Trying to
That
understand.
might have similar types of questions, like in a group setting, that's optional, of course.
'Cause, yeah, and once I do call them and explain it, they're like, oh, okay, so
Right.
we'll continue with the meeting. And then the meeting comes and there's more explanations, and so that's the part I was saying that's difficult for a brand new parent who is going along and thinking, oh, and again, it's not, it's, could be just a delay in their development, that's not a referral, you know? But just that conversation I have with families, at the referral meeting is, yeah. But I get them before the referral meeting if there's questions, so we have a kind of a good system, I think.
But the idea is still to kind of take the burden off you as much, to some extent, and just have those parents be more prepared, correct?
Yeah, the preparedness I think makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think it's, you know, this group is here to really support families and like thinking about at what stages do families probably need the most support. So some of them, like we're talking about like guardianship, like bridging that high school to adult life, that's
Sure.
an area where you need a lot of support. On the other end, like Jackie's saying, those new families, they need a lot of support as well, because this is something new that they're kind
And
of.
admittedly, that's the part I'm most familiar with, because it's
Right.
makes it
Yeah.
different for me, right?
Yeah, so I think it's just like, how do we leverage this group to be useful for families, you know, how do we make it be something that is informative and valuable?
Yeah.
So I think it was just one point of, you know, the whole trajectory here
Sure.
that, you know, we find families often have the most questions, because it's the first stages of the process.
And admittedly, it's a scary phase.
Yeah.
We don't know, it's a new world, and
Yeah,
again, luckily, we had somebody like Jack that could just touch base with and
yeah.
have answers to a lot of the questions.
And we kind of get it at both ends, we get it at the beginning and then we get it for kindergarten, so you know how those conversations went as well. So that's a huge conversation with a lot of some pre-K kids I've had for 3 years, because they start with us at 3 years old. So that's a long time for one team to have a child, receiving special education services, so then, bye-bye, you're going to kindergarten, and that's like, oh my goodness, you know, so that's another huge conversation, so we kind of get it at both ends. Which is, you know, I have a great team, they do a great job, and then the receiving teams are awesome, so.
Do you think it would best be suited if you were doing that for a nighttime, or do you think it would be better suited for like a tag on to the Cafe Connections? Because we did do something at Fishing Cove once,
Yeah.
and we tried to catch that drop off crowd.
Whatever you guys, I mean, I would be available to do whatever you guys needed me to support, you know, I could be there just to answer questions, random questions.
I'll be Jackie's tech support.
I do my tech support.
Do you have
Yeah.
a way to survey those families, or like say what time of
Like
week?
any, I know how you said there's like 800, like,
It's so hard,
Yeah.
like we were talking earlier, there's just not a good time not a good time. Like, mornings would be probably great for some families, mid-afternoon would be great for some families, 4 o'clock would be great for some families. I think we would have to, I think we should look at like different times.
Would you record like something ahead of time so that it's just like a live, this is already done, this is my,
That's a great
this
idea.
is my
you could
discussion.
talk through everything you just said.
Yeah.
You could actually post it on your website.
That's so
There's really
good.
there's no need
That's so
for
good.
like
Why
you to repeat
recreate the
yourself if
wheel?
people
That's
have
what I mean.
questions.
Tech support,
Yes.
let's do it.
Yes.
Good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're working on we're working on the website.
We're doing great.
The person who is doing all the web pages for the district, Gwen, yeah, she's is it Gwen? That's her name? Yeah. Is that her name? Yeah.
No, that's Russell.
No,
But it's her mom.
Okay. Yeah, we're working close together. I got mine up and running. I think
but I do think
it's
that's a
ready
good
to go,
idea.
but
I think
yeah,
if you
no,
did
I
a
would
recording,
definitely
I
do
think
something
that's
like
great.
that. Absolutely.
Like
yeah.
FAQs and stuff, like here's things I frequently hear at referral meetings.
Yeah, and people can obviously watch them in their own time, and then
Yeah.
they can maybe there could be a different point of contact for people that have follow-up
Absolutely.
questions, because if the person, like one of us, could be versed in the video enough to hopefully like be a middleman to not inundate you with all of these questions that maybe there could be answers to through a parent or the question, the video or what have you.
I think that
What about cadence of the live Q&As virtually?
Could do that too,
So you
yeah,
can do
that's a
every,
great
you know, every
idea.
2 or 3
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, yeah.
An hour worth of, and just advertise it to the parents that, hey, if you had a recent referral, if you have questions, we're gonna have a live Q&A.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could also just give them like a survey, if they have a question, to send it in, you know what I mean? So,
too, yeah.
So she's prepared for that Q&A as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we could start with maybe a slide on SELAC too, just so that, again, it's a reminder for families that SELAC is here and
Absolutely.
maybe, or end with it, either, you know, it's hard to inundate families with a lot, but if it was just one quick, like, hey, by
Yeah.
the way, this is also just a reminder.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think, I'm gonna try to wrap up here, our last thing was the connection with the DEI and list of projects for accessibility review.
I think that's a repeat of F,
Yeah.
like the one that we just talked about.
Okay, so I think that was pretty much wrapped up, it was on the agenda, but I think we're good. Just to know if there are any additional questions, comments, feedback, we definitely had a lot of great
Especially
feedback.
Other
You guys are
people.
great, we love you.
I was gonna say something real fast. On Friday, I went to something up at Ripon, from the Rhode Island Department of Education focused on IEPs. So they're revisiting their whole IEP process. And so they wanna have a new, not just new forms, but a whole new, like, and they're gonna, over the next year, they're gonna have focus groups with parents. They're doing this big shift to the rightful presence of special ed students, like, that they have that they inherently belong in the schools, instead of it being like that they get brought in for inclusion, like that they belong in the school. And like, they were even talking about like proms should be accessible, like making, you know, starting with like accessibility as the base, and I thought that was a really nice, center point to talk about. And they talked about how it's a big shift and that there's a lot that will happen, but I thought I don't know, it was like some optimism in the scheme of everything.
Are those trainings, where did you find that training, just in case anyone else might wanna?
That's from Ripon, so yeah, like getting on Ripon's listserv, like they have help, they have lots of stuff that's not particularly relevant at any given point, but there's enough stuff that reading the newsletter may be like, oh, that's useful to me.
They do have some of those transition point meetings too,
Yeah.
or they used to, I don't know if they still do, but.
I think they have.
I get their emails, there are some good parent workshops
Yeah.
that, and I saw the IEP one, so
Yeah.
yeah.
If you don't mind just passing them along,
Sure.
if you see them to somebody, I'd see them, like that. So just quickly, our next meeting will be in the new year, January 8th at 6:45, right back here. And I think our next Cafe Connections is, let's see.
February
7th.
7th.
Okay, so first we'll be back here and then we'll have a Cafe Connection, so. Thank you for everyone who came, spread the word.
Thank you, we'll
you.
see you,
Thank
I'll
you.
definitely see a lot of you.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Take care.